My name is Dr. Shahrzad Nuravi. I'm a business psychologist, and I welcome you to part 5 of my 6-part series on living a purpose-driven life. Today, I'm going to talk about Spes, la Ultima Dia. Spes, the last goddess of hope. From hopeless to hopeful, 5 keys to revive your hope in tough times. The reason I'm including hope in a series on living a purpose-driven life is when things get difficult, it is very easy to lose hope. And when we lose hope, we lose purpose. We lose our way. We lose our raison d'etre. We lose our Ikigai. We lose our plan de la vida. And I talked about all of these in the past videos. So today I'll talk about what it is to have hope and how you could tap into it in the most difficult of times. In Greek mythology, Spes was the goddess of hope. She and other goddesses were trapped in a jar by Zeus and entrusted to the care of Pandora. You may have heard the term opening Pandora's box. Yes, it is the same Pandora. When she opened the vessel, all the spirits escaped, except for Spes, the goddess of hope, who remained behind to comfort mankind. Her opposite was Morose, the spirit of hopelessness and doom. The question is, how do we create hope in ourselves and others toward a greater purpose? Why does this matter? Hope inspires action, action inspires purpose. 5 ways to revive your hope in tough times. Number 1, gratitude and positive thinking. Every day, write 3 things you are grateful for, whether it's in your phone notes page, whether it's in an actual journal. And as you do this, it rewires your brain to look for more positive things in your day-to-day life. And when you're doing this, you're actually scanning the environment as you are living your life, going about in your meetings, spending time with your family, because you have an assignment to write 3 awesome things that happened that you're grateful for at the end of the day. So it rewires our brain to look for the positive. It rewires our brain to be still and mindful and present. I share this with you not because of the research, not because of what my clients have done and how they have succeeded, but from my personal experience. I once spent 6 months every single day writing 3 to 5 things I was grateful for. If I skipped a day, the next day I would do twice the amount that I had committed to. So I would write 6 to 10 things I was grateful for. After engaging in this exercise, I found that I am much more capable of observing what's going well in the moment than I was before. If I am at a red light, I am looking around at the nature and beauty around me. If I am in a grocery store, I am taking my time. I try to go when I don't have to rush, and I am observing the life around me. I'm observing the produce. And part of it is studying mindfulness, which is about presence, and it all ties to gratitude and positive thinking. The second way of reviving hope in tough times: choose a hope mentor, past or present. This could be a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, a celebrity who gives you hope. Oprah Winfrey, Milton Hershey. Do you know how many times he was rejected before he was able to develop Hershey bars that we enjoy to this day? Gloria Steinem and how she stood up for women's rights. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Harvey Milk. He ran for office 18 times until he was elected. He so believed in his mission. You can learn about his story in the movie Milk, starring the talented Sean Penn. If you have a difficult project at work, in your community, with your family, think about leaders who drove change despite the worst of conditions. Learn how others have created change in the conditions that you are facing. You could have a board of trustees of hope mentors, of people who are here with you, who you can talk to, people who were in your life and you would think, what would he say? What would she say? And people who inspire you that you may never meet, but you know that they were able to prevail in the most difficult of times. Number 3, practice forgiveness. Instead of being surprised by people's behavior, whether it's a colleague, a client, or a family member, Whether it's someone who knows exactly how to push your buttons, instead of being surprised every time, take a step back. Look at the pattern of behavior. Instead of complaining about it, notice, are you seeing a certain pattern? And if so, you could think to yourself, that's on brand for that person. It'll help you stop spiraling into despair and settling into your wisdom. And when it comes to forgiveness, if you read about the concept of non-attachment, that will certainly help you. It's not about detachment. It's not about being overly attached. It's about doing your best in any given situation and not being attached to the outcomes. The fourth way of reviving your hope in tough times, practice mindfulness. This could be meditating. This could be taking a walk in nature without listening to the news, music, podcasts, without talking on the phone, just being centered in the activity you're engaging in, which is walking. And maybe you're walking your dog and observing the world around you and just letting your mind be free. Mindfulness can include doing an activity that you love, whether it's reading, whether it's stretching, whether it's gardening. When you take yourself out of the thinking that you have and just go do something else, you will interrupt the pattern that you're in. All of these activities can prevent the spiral of despair that makes us lose hope. These activities calm your nervous system and help you feel centered, and all of that contributes to feeling hopeful. So I shared 4 ways to revive hope in tough times. They were: practice gratitude. Number 2, have hope mentors. Number 3, practice forgiveness. Number 4, learn and practice mindfulness. The 5th way to revive hope in tough times is to follow your intuition. When I think of people I have met in my life who I've thought, wow, that person is really intuitive, there's one client who comes to mind who I recently started working with. And she shared times where she was having a challenge that she did not expect. And the way that she looked at the challenge helped me see she is being really intuitive about this. One example was she was in university and she had a swim coach and they did not get along. She did not like this swim coach's style and everyone would complain, but as we know, oftentimes people don't really do anything about it. Not her. She was observing the dynamic, the behavior, the impact it had on her teammates, and she applied to go and attend university elsewhere where she had met the swim coach and thought there was a great chemistry, and she transferred and she went there and she thrived in her swimming career. The second example she gave me was she was working in an organization and the only next position was that of her boss, and she remembered seeing him, and this was the 80s, by the way. She remembered seeing him in the corner office. She described him as overweight, feet up on the table, smoking, and she thought, how will I get that job? He's not going anywhere. And she decided it was time to make a change. Again, from observing the world around her, from observing the dynamics that she was experiencing. As she shared the example of seeing her boss, I could almost imagine it right alongside with her. And one of the things she did was tap into her heart and mind and feelings, and they told her something. And we can often feel it when there is something wrong. Our body tells us, and that is what she did in that second situation, and she went and got a new job and was thriving. The third of the 4 situations I wanted to share with you where I saw someone deeply tap into their intuition was when she was working at that job and her 3-year-old was being a tyrant with the nanny. The nanny was telling her, I can't do this anymore. She realized, you know what? I need to make a change. And she decided to leave her job and focus on her child, who she felt really needed her, and she felt there was nothing more important than that. And it was a good decision because he was later thriving. So as she was taking time off from work and taking care of her son, she picked up tennis, and it was a bright, beautiful Tuesday morning, and she shared that she was so excited to go and play with one of her partners. And she observed that this partner was so angry that she couldn't serve in the way that she wanted to. And she was frustrated. And my client said, oh my God, it's this beautiful day. The sky is blue. We're all healthy. What are you doing? Is that the biggest thing that you have to be frustrated about? And again, from following her observations and her intuition, she said to herself, I don't want to be like her. She put it out there in the world, in her mind, and after that tennis session, she went to the dry cleaner to pick up a couple items, and she saw her old boss, not the smoking one in the corner. And he said, what are you up to? What are you doing? Do you want to work again? Do you want to come back to the company? And she said, yes. And she went back, and it was fantastic. It's almost like the way that she was observing the world around her and following her intuition helped her manifest the things that she wanted. And you might be wondering, how do I tap into my intuition like that? Great question. Here are 4 ways that you can start really honing in to what your mind, body, and heart is telling you. Number 1, spend time in nature. I have shared this tip in so many different ways over the different videos that I've made. And I tell you, it helps clear our mind when we are in nature, when we're not on the phone, we're not listening to a podcast, we're not listening to music. We are just being still, engaging in some activity, whether it's walking, bike riding, hiking, sitting down and sketching, drawing. Any of those things will help settle you down. And that's when we notice things, when we're settled down. Number 2, get it out of your head. I'm a big proponent of journaling and writing down what's bothering you. When we get it out of our head, there's this magic that happens. It's like cleaning the closet in our head, and we get organized and we start understanding what's really bothering us. Sometimes it might seem like it's one thing, but when we really sit down and write it out, it's something else. We get to the root of things. Write what your dreams are. If you don't like a situation you're in right now, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship that you wish was different, write it out, what you wish it would be like. Dream what it would be like. I one time was having challenges with a family member who I care about very much, but it was a tough time. And I would dream about us being at a restaurant together, sitting on a sidewalk, having burgers, laughing, giving each other advice. And I kept to that vision and that dream. It helped me go toward it because I was able to see it. Create a dream board. And it could be something you do where you physically print and cut out images, or it could be something you do digitally, look up, create vision board online. And there's something very refreshing about dreaming and just putting it down. Dream big. It's yours. You don't have to share it with anyone. A lot of people like to create a digital dream board. Some people are very tactile. And that's another way to start putting out there what you want, what you would love to see happen. That's another part of getting our intuition in touch with our mind and heart. The third one is part tech diet and part tech search. Tech diet. Take time off where if you have a few hours and turn off the phone, turn off the notifications, and go about your day, but without that distraction. Now, tech search is if there are things you're interested in and want to know more about, go ahead and look it up and have it on your phone so that you can research it later. So there's a very big difference between the tech diet and then making time to actually research some things you're interested in, because we have the whole world at our fingertips. And fourth, observe. Think about my client and how it seemed like sometimes she would be in slow motion as if her life was a film, pausing, and observing. And start doing that. And that requires you to slow down. It requires you to take yourself out of the moment. So here's to you tapping into your Spes, l'ultima dia, Spes, the final goddess of hope. And remember always, a powerful culture starts with you.